So let's begin. Hello, everyone. My name is Ken Quigley from Keystroke, and we're going to be demonstrating our new product called MailManager. Now, for those that attended the conference, I had about a half-hour presentation on the MailManager, and it was inspired basically because we knew that two of SwiftPage e-marketing programs were going to be sunset. We just heard this past week that they've actually put a timetable on SwiftPage e-marketing, and who knows what AEM will be. But this was the initial inspiration of it, because a lot of people like ourselves who've been using SwiftPage e-marketing for quite some time was looking at the loss of tons and tons of templates and really loss of control. So this is where we thought there would be, a space to fill, a demand. So we started working on this particular product. So what is MailManager? MailManager is a compilation of 4 separate products that we've merged together and built additional functionality on it. So they're actually, they're very, very much more than the sum of their parts. So the first part, which is key, is the opt-in manager. Now, the opt-in manager we learned when we first started learning about ACT marketing automation. The message that SwiftPage hit us with first and the hardest was the importance of having a good, well-scrubbed marketing list. So, you can have a great tool like ACT marketing automation, but if you don't have a well-vetted, well-scrubbed list of people that have opted in, people whose address have been verified, then you can find yourself losing access to the service or being blacklisted. So this was a tool that we've actually had since 2014. In Canada, they introduced legislation called Canadian Anti-Spam Legislation, short form is CASL, and we built a similar tool called Act for CASL back then. And when GDPR was announced, last year, in 2017, we morphed it rewrote it, and rebranded it as Opt-in Manager, so it would cover both markets. And it was very, very popular in the UK and across Europe as people were trying to, be compliant with the GDPR. So the opt-in manager allows you to very, very easily harvest thousands and thousands and thousands of permissions to email and basically send them out an email, have them reply, and have those results updated into your database faster than you could even imagine. So just like literally update thousands of records within minutes. No other way can it be done faster. Mail merge, on the other hand, is strictly the delivery and publishing piece. Now, for some of you guys that are familiar with Premium Plus, you're going to recognize the publisher because obviously, as everyone knows, we developed ACT Premium Plus as an offshoot of Tables for ACT. And the publisher that Premium Plus uses is the same that we use for Mail Merge. Okay, so you're going to see all the same controls, everything, the same kind of flexibility that this uses. Okay, and what's the really nice advantage of this that is only true for Mail Manager or Mail Merge is that the file types, okay, the actual file extensions, as we know, outside of the attachment folder, you cannot sync any other type of unrecognized files. So for instance, if you try to save a template or a query that isn't a recognized extension, those will not be synced. Okay, so they have to actually actively whitelist permitted files to be synced. Templates for Mail Merge and Mail Manager, because they use the same extension as the Premium Plus, will be included in any sync environment. So that's important to point out. The next part is Notifier Lite. And the reason that we designated Notifier Lite is that it does not work with custom tables. It strictly works with contact tables and opportunity tables. So if you want to have automation built around birthdays or anniversaries or particular stages of an opportunity like estimated close date or post purchase, if you wanted to trigger some workflow based on the actual close date, the Notifier Lite is perfect for you. And it will send out emails and templates that you compose with the Mail Merge publisher. And the last piece, we actually recognize the unique fit that Act for Outlook has when we first came out with Opt-in Manager. And what would happen is that we would get tons of people that would reply to our opt-in campaigns, and we wanted to quickly look them up. Let's say we got 10, 15 responses. I would be able to select 10, 15 emails from the inbox, right-click and say, create lookup in Act. And Act for Outlook was a really, really powerful tool that we actually didn't realize how complementary it was until it was in production. So we made sure that all Mail Manager subscriptions comes with one complimentary copy of Act for Outlook. And the reason I make that extra little designation is that Act for Outlook is a perpetual product. Mail Manager is a subscription product. So if after the first year, for some reason, they don't want to renew their subscription, this will remain theirs as their delightful parting gift. Okay, so just want to clarify that. Just for everyone's reference, the page that I'm looking at right now is our apps from Keystroke.ca and then MailManager.ca, or MailManager4act. Scrolling down, okay, you can get more information here. I'm not going to preempt anyone's ability to read, so I'm just going to kind of cover all the, where everything's covered. And then I'm going to return back here, okay, to show you some of the features that we actually have actively demonstrated, okay? So enough of the overview, let's jump right in. Okay, so clear this. Okay, so this is our database. I've got a small subset of 30 looked up. And the first thing I want to review by way of introduction to all the features of MailManager4act is the actual configurable settings. So it installs inside, it's completely inside of the program. The two areas that are surfaced are under the settings here and then under the right menu. So right here, and then you've got all these familiar functions, which we'll cover later, okay? But the first one is MailManager4act. So we're going to click on here, MailManager4act settings. Very simple. You put in your account information here, okay? And then you've got to designate what will be your permission field. You can see it over here. We've got it historically branded as Castle, and the options are basically accepted and denied. If I put in the contact permission, and you can create a contact permission during the original setup, or use one that that you already have. But here's the contact permission field, and this is the field where I'm designated where they are opting out. Now, the nice thing about this is when you put the value in here, any records, even if you try to email them, okay, will be suppressed on the client side. You will not be able to send them using MailManager4act. So you've got that client-side suppression, which is really, really nice. Okay, as opposed to having something like SwiftPage eMarketing, where you may have thousands and thousands of opt-outs, which you've got to now go to a great deal of trouble to bring into your database. Next is the email settings, so the email server settings. Now this, we put a lot of thought in because what we wanted to do is provide maximum flexibility because this is a client-side email marketing system. So what we wanted to do is that the IMAP feature here, okay, I'm going to show you the benefits of this, but the main part is the SMTP. So what we wanted to do is provide people the ability to have multiple delivery options. So for us, if I'm sending out my opt-in request that may have a higher than average bounce rate, okay, or errors, then I'm going to use our own mail servers. However, if I want to send out something to a qualified list, then I can select from either SendGrid here or our MailJet account. And you see how easy that was? I can just simply select from any number of pre-configured settings and off I go. Okay, and I just do this before, and it records the encryption level, everything else. Now, you're probably wondering about the number of connections here. What's really cool is that we've actually got it so that you can actually have 10 concurrent threads going. So I'll just show you here. I've got up to 10 concurrent connections, and what that allows me to do is deliver the mail at 10 times the normal rate that you would send out, by something like Outlook. So this will allow you to run 10 threads at a time and deliver the mail that much faster. Okay, so that's a really cool setting. So that's the delivery settings. The next is the history setting. This is fairly straightforward. You can either go with a default email sent setting, or what we recommend is actually to create a unique history type so that if you actually ever want to do history reports and really dig up specific Mail Manager related histories, then you can create your own email history types. Everyone on this call is an ACT consultant, so I'm not going to belabor that point. The next one is email footer settings. Now, anytime that you send out an email, okay, it's going to have the same kind of can spam regulations for footers. You're going to have your own ID in there. You're going to have opt-out requests and obviously the delivery mechanism branding, okay? Now, for me personally, and I don't know how much this translates to other people's needs, but for us, we actually have a number of different brandings that are applicable for different types of mailing. So as you can see here, I've got Ken Quigley from Handheld Contact. Here's our specific toll-free number, and this is our address for the Kitchener office. However, if I want to send out something for Keystroke, you see here, with a click of a button, I can have another different identity, and this will go out, okay? This is not available on SPEM. Pretty much, it will only reflect the account settings. And then if I want to send out something for Act Marketplace, because I don't want to send out anything that's branded Keystroke for Act Marketplace, I can set this, and it's as easy as that, selecting from a drop-down list. So I'm going to go back to Keystroke. Okay, and I'm going to move on. Now, also, if you want to send out something that maybe you don't want to have the footer settings, the next time you just send it, click on here, hide Act from our Mail Manager footer settings. The next is the email delivery. So by default, it's going to go to the primary email address. If for some reason you use spouse's email, the alternative emails, and you want to send all of the above, you've got the option to send it all here. The stationary settings. Now, a lot of you have probably seen people, especially with wealth managers, things like that. They've got email stationery that's very professional looking, very rigid. And if you've received emails from me relating to this presentation, then you've probably seen some of that we've sent out, okay? And this is how the back end of the settings here. So we set the width. So 6.75 is roughly 600 pixels wide, which is what you want. Automatically center the email. For me, I want our stationery to have our logo here centered at the top, but I've got the option to position it any way I like. The greeting here, and this is really key, and I'll show you why later. The greeting here, you can send out an email, okay, based on a lookup and pretty much write it on the fly. So instead of creating a template, saving the template and then merging everyone's information into it, you can create stationery that merges in the salutation. Okay, so it looks like even though you're writing the email on the fly and sending it out on the fly, it will actually be personalized for each person's recipient. And what you can see here is, much like our subject lines, you've got the ability to insert merge fields right into this particular salutation field. Okay, and then I've got my footer message here, which supports text and our graphics. Okay. Automated settings. Now, this was actually added after the fact by popular demand because we had a lot of people running a lot of opt-in campaigns and using the integrated web forms, and they didn't like the fact that you had to manually pull that information down from our servers. So what we did is we set it up so that you can configure automated downloads, so automatically download web form submissions every 12 hours and automatically download opt-in permissions every 12 hours. You can set this at whatever you like, okay? And then the last settings is strictly check for updates every time. As we develop products, anyone that's used any of our products, we're fairly aggressive in terms of our updates. So we try to deliver new features, patches, and things like that quite regularly, delivered through the Act for Work updater, and this is no exception. Okay? Now, having gone through the settings, you can see basically the back end works. Now let's go through this, and you can see some of the features. One of the first things that we wanted to do is be able to, at the very least, replicate the ability to send on delivery. It's one thing to be able to, queue up an email, a merge mail, and send it out, but anyone that's used to SwiftPage e-marketing or any other e-marketing platform, they're used to the ability to be able to send on schedule. So that's what I used to do a lot. However, one thing that frustrated me a lot with SwiftPage e-marketing is that once I sent it out, despite the fact that it may have been scheduled to be delivered the next day, I literally couldn't edit it, I couldn't stop it, I couldn't do anything. So that was one limitation we wanted to cover right away. So we built in the ability, which I'll show you when we go through the actual merge mail, to edit a scheduled email blast. So if you end up making a mistake or the needs for the e-blast change, you can stop it, edit, do whatever you like. Okay? Now, one of the features that very few people know about is the managed bounced emails. And the reason that we had to have those IMAP settings within the within the settings that I first showed you guys, is to support this feature. So let's say you send out an e-blast and you're qualifying people, and the first one is the initial opt-in email. And you send out several thousand emails and you get 500 bounces, okay? Pretty high, but worse is trying to reconcile that bounce list from Outlook into a lookup in your Act, okay? We solve that problem. So what you can do, and I'll show you how this works, is just click on Monitor IMAP folder, and I'll bring this over on this page. And what I'm going to do is I'll just quickly check that this is here. Okay, and you can see I have my bounce folder of 149, okay? So I'm going to say bounces, okay? And now what it's doing is going into that folder, and it's actually creating a lookup list of all the emails that bounced, okay? I strongly recommend that you create a dedicated folder, like just create a rule for things like, you know, postmaster or mail day or mail delivery system, anything along those lines, so that you can easily create Outlook rules so that they all get put in there. And then what you can do is, you know, once most of the bounces have come in, is you can run this function and it will actually create that lookup, okay? And I'm kind of stalling here while we're waiting for this to complete. But now you're seeing 149, it's already passed halfway and it's been less than a minute. Try to imagine creating a lookup list for 149, just a small sample of 149 any other way, and then look it up in Act. Okay, so we're at 103, 104. Okay, it's almost done. But that's where the email settings are for. Now, as I said, if you point it at your inbox here, because it's got so much more to go through, it will delay it significantly. So always create a separate one. I've seen where when I asked it to look in my inbox, it can sometimes take hours because it's going through thousands and thousands. Okay? So once it's done, it actually creates this little lookup, okay, in this list. And this is a feature that we call the multi-search, okay? So what it's done is it's compiled the list, and now I can just do a lookup here, and now it's actually looking up those contacts. Now the obvious benefit of this is that with all of these bounces, okay, once it completes the lookup, I'm going to do a mass search and replace, and I'm going to make sure that my castle field indicates all denied, because if they bounce, I don't want to send them again. No. So now you can see how quickly it took a couple of minutes to look up 149 or harvest 149, and now of that 49, there was obviously a lot of duplicates. We've got 80. Now what I do is I actually like to make sure here, I'm going to omit these because there could be some other reason, okay? And now, okay? And that took about 5 minutes, and I've updated, in this case, because there was a number of duplicates, I updated about 78 contacts, okay? So now those people aren't going to get bounced anymore because they're not going to get delivered. And remember, it's client-side suppression, okay? So we know that when we use Mail Manager again, if denied is in that field, it will not send it, okay? So let's continue. So we covered this, IMAP, and then the second feature you saw was look up email address. Now the next one is Opt-in Manager. Okay, so the Opt-in Manager, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because most of the people having, based on the amount of marketing we've done in this past, have had some kind of exposure to this. But Opt-in Manager is where you can send an email, okay, pre-configured here, and let's stay in touch. Here's your signature information, and this goes out. Now, when they click on this, okay, this looks like it's a standard link, okay? Looks like a standard link that everyone is getting. But watch what happens when, okay, I'm actually just going to send this here. Okay, copy shortcut. I haven't tried this one before. That's what they're going to get, okay? So that particular link, it's going to like, well, that looks like everyone else's, okay? And when you click on opt-in, that information, that permission is stored. Now, how does that get back into the database? You see this long here, alphanumeric character here? This is the actual contact GUID. So when you're downloading it, it actually knows which record to update. And now the only information for any people that have any privacy concerns, the only information that is connected, okay, and stored on our server is this contact GUID, which is meaningless to anyone outside of their particular database, and the permission. And then even that information is wiped from the servers once it's synced and downloaded, okay? So I can then click on here. I can click on opt-in. Let's just remember the contact name here. Okay, and we've got particular person. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will say it's denied here, and I'm going to go back here and I'm going to click on opt-in. Okay, thank you for submitting it. Now, on the form that you get when you initially set up your account, you can control all of this text. You obviously put in your own branding. We don't expect people to advertise Keystroke. You put in your own stuff there, and then you've got the neutral white labeled branding here of optinmanagement.com. Okay, now let's see it actually work in action. So now you go to opt-in management and you click on update contact permission. Okay, total opt-ins. Now previously where you had seen denied, now you see accepted, okay? Now imagine repeating that for hundreds, if not thousands of contacts. That's how quickly it gets done, okay? So that's a neat little feature, okay? And the nice thing is that you can keep sending out those opt-in permissions, and if for any reason people want to change their mind, you can send them a unique link here, generate unique link, okay, and then basically reply to the email. And this basically copies their unique link to the clipboard that you can reply with from their email. Okay, let's continue. Web forms. The web forms, I'll just show you the back end. Okay, so this allows you to set all the different fields that you may want to include here. So you've got all the company information, additional custom information. You can add up to 5 additional fields here for custom. You can change their order, okay? And then other fields here, you want to contact us to go to what information, and then you want to have the branding incorporated here as well as the answer, okay? So thank you for your time today. Please click submit, okay? Now, what URL is that? This URL. So let's copy and see what that looks like. Okay, so this is the web form. It's got a built-in CAPTCHA, everything else, and then you've got the standard contact us information, but you just build this in within an iframe on your website, and then suddenly you've got you know, a built-in web form that gets synced directly into your database, okay? A lot of you guys are familiar with products on the market that cost, you know, upwards of $20 a month just for this feature alone, okay? And this is included in it for no additional cost, okay? So you've got that. Now, what's some other applications that you've got for this? You can actually send out an email to people, okay? So let's say that you're an insurance broker and you want to verify what all of their contact information is, but you haven't had any direct contact with them. So you can send them out an email, a merged email that says, this is the address that we have on file. This is the email. Email's a bad example, but this is the address that we have on file. And this is maybe the ACT versions that we have on file. Okay, please confirm if this is accurate. If it isn't, please click on this link that you can insert in there. They then click on it because it's not updated. They put in their updated information, and then that gets downloaded and updated to your database. So they can add in different address, they can update their ACT version, they can add in anything they like, and then you will get that synced into your database and your database updated without ever typing a thing. Okay, so we call that the address verifier. Okay, and we know that in certain industry sectors that'll be really, really popular. Okay, so And so web firms and then managing licenses. Okay, so let's actually get to watching this work. Okay, so I'm going to do Keystroke lookup team, and now I'm going to actually write something. Okay, so as we were building this, we saw the need to have different kinds of deliveries, okay? So when you click on MailManager4act, we've got the mail to Word, and anyone that's ever worked with merging to Word realizes that pictures can get lost during major mergings, okay? Same thing with merge to email. Standard function, so merge to email is basically merge from a template, okay? Merge to HTML is a feature that we've added just this month, and it's to support resellers like yourself, and I'll be demonstrating that as part of this demonstration. And then email from stationery was what I referenced earlier. So let's actually build something from email from stationery. So imagine I've got a quick memo to send out to my team here, okay? And I don't want to go to the trouble of preparing a form, vetting the form. I know what I want to say. It's a quick message. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here, email from stationery, bring this over, and I've got my standard predictable options, the current contact, current lookup, all contacts or group. I'm going to click on next. Here's where I told you can have the send now or send later. So send now, I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to say, hey, keeps jumping over onto the screen here. Salutation. This is a test, okay? I've got CC and BCC options here, plus with this additional checkbox, because if you say just CC and BC and it's a merge, then that poor person here is going to get copied on every single merged email that goes out. So this gives you the option of sending out to only the initial email. So if I want to copy Vic on this email, he's not going to get 30 CCs. Okay. Next. Change to standard options. If you want to send it on behalf of someone, or you just wanted to have a general inbox reply, I can just say, instead of my own, okay, I'm going to send this on behalf of the sales team. And then the next one is how to manage deliveries for the maximum success, okay? So I'm going to say, and we've got a recommended batch size is 25 emails with 30-second intervals. So you can just say, okay, we'll have that, okay, and then we'll have a 10-second interval. Okay, and as this is getting delivered through the mail servers, this gets it's a little bit more agreeable in terms of delivery and more likely to get through spam detection. Okay, and then next. Okay, here's where you can add or remove attachments, multiple attachments, whichever. This is just one more configurable option. And then the last is the editor. Okay, so this is where you can actually compose an email on the fly. So instead of having to prepare something, you can actually prepare this like on the fly. So I've got these people I want to email. I'm just going to say, this is a test. I've got insert options, so insert hyperlinks, clear format. Like if you copy and paste information from, say, a Word document or a website, you're probably going to want to clear the format, okay? And this makes sure that it's coming across clean. It's just like, when we would use Swift Page e-marketing, we'd want to cleanse everything through Notepad. Otherwise, you've got the same kind of formatting options that you would expect. Okay, let's say here. Okay, make it a little bit bigger. I can grow font. I can set the font color. Okay, whichever, all standard design things. You've got bullets, you've got numbers, indents, right and left, all you want in different orientations as well. All the emails that you guys have received from us have come through this stationery feature. Okay, then next. Now, I really, really like this feature. History is fine, but often you've got the choice of what's in the subject line or attaching the whole email. we actually added the additional feature where you can actually manually describe what it's about rather than forcing people to read it. So you can just say, this is a test for the web demo. Okay? And now, this is really important. Okay? What I find is, even though I think I've done a really good job, I click on test. I just want to have that one final thing to test to see how that looks. Okay? So here it is, and this is what it looks like. So now you can see the stationery. I've got my logo centered at the top. You can see all the different colors, and you can see here the CAN-SPAM compliant information at the bottom, identifying myself. The last ID I was using was handheld contact. Okay, here's powered by Mail Manager, and here's click to unsubscribe. So if I clicked here, okay, it brings this back up. So you've got control of all of your opt-ins. You're not relying on any other service, and this information will get synced back to your database. Okay? So now I'm comfortable with it. It looks good. I'm going to click on send. Okay? And that's how fast it is. Okay? So you literally saw 30 emails go out in about 2 seconds. Okay? So client side, it's bypassing Outlook, and now you can see here, it's got the email again. Okay? Sent out to